Why'd you have such a hard time trusting people? Fear. Simple, direct answer is fear. Pretty much any explanation I give will be rationalization. The most honest answer I can give is we fear trusting people because we're afraid. A lot of our past experiences will you always have in the back of your mind, what if they betray me? Well, there's a high probability of that because betrayal can only happen from a friend. Your enemies don't betray you. They were never your friend. Your friends only have the potential to either stay your friends or betray you. So most of us look at our friends knowing y'all only got two options. And it's very difficult to be consistent. It's highly difficult to be consistent. So if somebody's your friend for years, I'm like, at some point they're going to become an enemy, bro. They're going to become an op. I'm going to have to run down on one. So at some point they have to transition. So in a lot of cases, we see our friends as ticking time bombs. So when I look at people that aren't my friends, they're just coworkers. And I'm like, they have no reason to love me. They don't love me. They say they do. We're an Air Force family and we're all here together and we're all here just trying to, get through our time together. I'm like, it's cap, bro. It's cap. It's cap, bro. People are just moving around the world and just assuming that people have your best interests. And again, I tend to be a little bit more pessimist, but I'm also more right than I'm wrong, bro. I tend to be right in a lot of cases. Now, when I made the insight as far as the being liked versus respected, that's going on offense and creating friends versus waiting on people to betray you. I'd rather be on offense and create friends and create friends and create friends because I know at some point they're all going to age out and become enemies at some point or just indifferent. And a lot of us we think about ourselves so much and like, well, everyone's out to get me. It's not all about you. Most people don't care about you. Most people do not care about you. Most people do not care about you. I built this channel on giving free advice. How many of the 13,000 people or the millions of people that have watched the video, I have millions of views on this channel. How many of those millions of views have came back to say thank you? 10%? Because most people, they go to the internet to get the advice they're looking for, to get the information they're looking for, and then they leave. That's normal. It's not wrong. It's normal. So when I go out into the public sphere and I realize these are humans who do normal human stuff, they're probably not going out of the way to just give me money. They're not going out of the way to just say thank you and be kind and generous, or they're not thinking about me. They're thinking about, why is this car in front of me driving so slow? Please go faster. Get out the way. But please go faster, bruh. Most people are not thinking about you. So I had trust issues. I have had past experiences where, I had big expectations and the expectations fell through. That's the first step to failure is trying. The first step to betrayal is trust. So if I avoid the trust, I can't get betrayed. As long as you're operating in fear, you're going to miss out on human experiences. And that's the number one thing I keep saying number one thing. There's a lot of number ones. One of the major things I've learned is, you can try to avoid betrayal by avoiding trust, but by avoiding the entire algorithm, you're going to live your life by yourself. This applies to relationships, friendships, networking, businesses. You're trying to avoid, getting robbed so you don't buy anything of value. You can still take your life. You got to play the game. You have to play the game. There's no way to avoid the game. You have to play the game until you die. Especially if you want anything of value to happen to you in your life. If you want any valuable experiences, you have to play the game. And so a lot of us avoid the trust. I'm like, I would never let a man provide for me. I'll never let a man pay my bills, protect me. I'll never get married, never take his last name. Men afraid of divorce. I'll never get married to a woman. I'll never let her share my bank account. I'll never put a ring on her finger, sign no contract. Fear. It's fear. And some of the fear can be rationalized. I always ask the question, I haven't got an answer yet. What does a man gain in marriage that he doesn't have access to while dating? I have yet to get an answer for that. I haven't got an answer. I asked all my special guests, all my guests that come on my podcast. I asked them, what does a man gain in marriage that he doesn't have access to while dating? I haven't got an answer yet because pretty much anything you want in marriage can be found in dating. The only difference is the contract. So, yeah, fear is a horrible way to live. We avoid taking risks in life to hopefully safely make it to death. That's a horrible experience. That's a horrible way to live. And so, yeah, I start off my career. I start off a lot of my experience, a lot of my endeavors, afraid of rejection, afraid of being disrespected, afraid of being crossed, afraid of being, betrayed. And I missed out on experience after experience after experience after experience. Afraid of losing money, afraid of investing, afraid of gambling, afraid of taking a chance, afraid of going on a road trip because what if I get a flat tire? Well, what if something happens to my car? What if there's a storm? What if something happens? I'm like, go do the thing. If fear is a reason why you can't do something outside of danger, you now must do the thing. Go do it. Go do it. A lot of people won't. I'm afraid of heights. I'm not getting up there. I don't care. I've been on top of the Empire State Building. I've been on top of the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa. I think it may have been passed, but last I checked, it was the tallest building in the world. I went to the top. I'm afraid of heights. But some things you just got to, fuck it. Get over it. Get over yourself. Go do it. So to answer your question, that was a major reason why, I had a hard time trusting people was I was afraid. In a lot of ways, I still am. Getting out of the military, I was afraid. Trust me, the idea of leaving your security blanket and going back to the Wild West to play with all the other people, it's a scary thought. It's a scary thought to leave my first and 15th check and say, I'm used to getting paid on the 15th and the 1st of every month. Nonstop, guaranteed, that check shows up. Well, that's gone. What do I replace it with? Figure it out. That's life. The ground floor, the worst case scenario for me, outside of death, homelessness. People are still thriving. You go to LA, people, they still smiling. They stink a little bit. People still having sex, gross. People still pooping outside. It's a whole thing. I'm not aiming for that. But if that's my worst case scenario, and my best case scenario is billionaire, you don't see people becoming billionaires in the military for a reason. There's a ceiling, there's a cap on your income. Until you promote, you don't make more money. You can work more hours, you can work harder, you can struggle, you can try harder, but you don't make more money just because you work harder. You're kind of capped. And so leaving that environment, you realize I have a higher ceiling now in the civilian world. I also have a lower floor. You have to accept that. So trust is hard. Trust is hard. Trust is giving someone the power. Being vulnerable is trusting someone with the ability to hurt you, but hoping they won't. Believing they won't, praying they won't. It's different. Great question.